Leave before sundown. The sheriff does not raise his voice. He does not need to. The whole town is already watching. She stands on the courthouse steps, hands at her sides, chin lifted. Her coat is dusty. Her eyes are not. You don't get to say that, she tells him. I just did. A paper trembles in his hand. He steps forward and pins it to her coat. The metal presses into her skin. Banished. A murmur rolls through the crowd like wind through dry grass. She killed him. She cursed the fields. She's poison. She looks at the faces she grew up with. The baker. The widow with the crooked fence. The men who borrowed tools from her father and never returned them. My father dug your well, she says. He's dead, the sheriff replies. And you're small. Gasps. Someone spits near her boots. The sheriff's jaw tightens. You were seen near the church that night. So were half your deputies. You argued with Councilman Reed. He cornered me. You were the last one with him. I was the last one he tried to scare. The crowd shifts. No one steps forward. No one steps beside her. You have until sundown, the sheriff says. After that, you're trespassing. My house is here. Not anymore. She laughs once. It sounds wrong even to her. You think a paper makes it yours? I think the town does. She scans the crowd again. Does it? No one answers. A horse snorts behind them. Bootsteps press into gravel. Slow. Steady. Are we finished? A man asks from the back. The sheriff does not turn. This is not your concern. Looks like it is. The cowboy moves through the crowd without touching anyone, yet they part. Hat low. Dust on his boots. Eyes quiet but sharp. He stops a few feet behind her. You done with her? He asks. She's leaving, the sheriff says. Does she know that? She does now. The cowboy studies the faces around him. You all feel bigger today? Silence tightens. Don't start, someone mutters. The sheriff faces him now. You give her shelter, you share her crime. What crime? Complicity. In what? In murder. The word hangs there. Heavy. Final. The cowboy glances at her. You kill him? She meets his eyes. No. Accident? She hesitates. He fell. The sheriff snaps, don't listen to her. The cowboy looks back at him. I wasn't asking you. A child begins to cry somewhere in the crowd. A woman hushes him quickly. You're making a mistake, the sheriff says. Maybe, the cowboy answers. But it'll be mine. He turns to her. You need a ride? She does not move at first. You know what they're saying. I heard. You believe them? He shrugs. I believe what I see. And what's that? A woman standing alone. The sheriff steps forward. Think about your land. I am. They'll remember this. I hope they do. The sun presses down. No wind. No mercy. She pulls the paper from her coat and drops it at the sheriff's boots. You don't get to erase me, she says. You're already gone, he replies. The cowboy offers his hand. Not soft. Not gentle. Just there. She looks at it. Then at the town. Then back at him. If I get on that horse, she says quietly, there's no coming back. He nods. I know. You don't even know my name. You can tell me on the way. A long pause. The kind that decides futures. She takes his hand. Gasps ripple again. The sheriff calls out, you step off this street with her, you answer to me. The cowboy swings into the saddle and pulls her up behind him. "Write my name under hers," he says. The horse turns. Hooves strike dust. No one stops them. The town grows smaller behind her, but she does not look back. Sundown is still hours away. Her fingers are white on the saddle horn, knuckles tight. The cowboy doesn't speak. The dust rises behind them, swallowing the town in gray haze. Every step forward feels like leaving a life behind and stepping into another one she's not sure she wants. "You sure about this?" she asks, voice small but hard. "No," he says without looking at her. "Then why are we going?" "Because I don't like crowds that act holy," he replies. She swallows. The silence stretches. Then she leans closer, trying not to let her fear show. "Most people think I'm guilty. Most people are idiots." She laughs, bitter, short. "You sound like you're agreeing with them." "I'm not," he says. "Just acknowledging the truth of it." They ride on. The horizon shifts, the fence posts becoming fewer. Wind carries a faint smell of wet earth and old fire. Nothing moves but the two of them. Her heart hammers in her chest. Every crunch of the horse's hooves feels like judgment. "You live here?" she asks finally. "Mostly," he says. "Mostly alone." "Mostly," she presses, eyes scanning the low hills, the windmill creaking in the distance. "Ghosts don't count," he says. She almost smiles. Almost. The house is small, weathered wood with a tin roof. The barn beside it still has blackened marks along the beams. She notices the scars immediately. "Fire?" "Years back," he says. "Accident." "Really?" Her voice is doubtful. He shrugs. "Depends who's asking." Inside, he sets his rifle down carefully against the wall. She notices how deliberate he is, how nothing about this place invites strangers. "You hungry?" he asks. "No," she says. "You lying?" "Yes," she admits after a pause. He grins faintly, not a warm grin but recognition of human weakness. He sets a piece of bread near her. She eats slowly, feeling the weight of silence around them. He doesn't watch her, he stares at the door, alert. She watches the burn marks on the window frame. "The barn?" "Lightning," he says. "Or maybe negligence." She studies him. His hands are steady. His eyes don't linger on hers. "You're not afraid?" she asks. "Afraid of what?" he asks back. "Everything they did to me," she says. "And everyone who stood by." He nods once, slow. "I've seen it before." They walk through the small house together. Dust motes hang in the air. The walls are bare except for a single photo of a woman on a horse. She notices the steadiness of his life in it, the quiet he maintains. "You ever talk about it?" she asks, nodding at the picture. "Not with strangers." She nods. They move toward the bedroom. He lays a blanket on the floor for himself. She stiffens. "You take the bed," he says. No invitation, just statement. "I won't steal it," she says. "You're not stealing," he replies. That's it. That's the line between them, clear and unshakable. Night falls quickly, and with it a chorus of distant calls in creaking trees. Bells from somewhere in the town sound faint, distant, but they carry weight. She flinches at every toll. "You okay?" he asks. "They did something to me," she says. "They did something to you too," he says. A quiet passes. Shared. Neither has to explain. He lights a lantern in the corner. The flicker throws shadows across the walls. They sit in silence. She thinks of the town fading behind them, the courthouse steps, the sheriff, the paper that branded her. And she thinks of him, silent, steady, watching the doorway, waiting for what might come. "You think they'll follow?" she finally asks. "Not tonight," he says. "Not tonight," he repeats, as if saying it 3 times makes it true. She studies him. Finally, a fragile trust begins to form. Not comfort, not safety. Just something resembling possibility. Maybe here, on the edge of his land, she can be something other than what the town accused her of being. Outside, the windmill creaks. The barn's blackened beams glint in the moonlight. Somewhere far off, an owl calls. She hears it clearly, loud and haunting, and for the first time in hours, she allows herself to believe they might survive the night. Tomorrow, they will have to face what comes next. But tonight, she is not alone. The sound wakes her before she fully realizes she is awake. Metal scraping. Slow, deliberate. She sits up, heart hammering, and the cowboy is already moving, rifle in hand. He doesn't speak, doesn't ask questions. He just goes. She follows silently, bare feet on the cold wood floor, every creak loud in the quiet house. "Did you hear that?" she whispers. "Yes," he says. Not alarmed, just stating fact. Outside, the moon is low, pale. Shadows twist across the yard. The windmill creaks in protest. The well sits in the center of the property, old stones worn, rope swinging slightly even though the air is still. The sound comes from there. She hesitates. "You ever throw something down a well?" he asks, eyes scanning the darkness. "Not alive," she says. Her voice is dry, flat. No humor. He stops a step behind her. "You're tired of defending yourself." "I'm tired of being judged by men who drink before noon," she says sharply. The words land between them. He doesn't answer immediately, just adjusts his grip on the rifle. He studies her from the side, cautious but steady. The rope moves again. A slow scrape from the bucket. She flinches. She can't tell if it's wind, animal, or something else. "It's probably nothing," she says. "Probably nothing doesn't sound like that," he says. His voice low, precise. The lantern swings in his hand. The light catches the stones of the well, makes them look alive, breathing. The scraping stops. Silence. Then a voice, faint and broken, rises from the darkness. "Help!" Her knees buckle slightly. "What?" she starts, but the sound changes. It doesn't stay human. It twists, warps, somewhere between a child and her father. "You hear that?" "Yes," he says. "I hear it." They lean over the edge, peering into the black that seems to swallow the lantern's glow. She hears another sound, deeper now, gurgling, as if something is moving underwater, alive and angry. The voice calls her name, not her real name, but one they used to call her, the name she hasn't heard in years. She steps back, heart thundering, panic rising. "That's not real," he says, placing a hand on her shoulder. Steadying, grounding. "It's a well. It's just echoes." "You're lying," she says. "It sounds like him. It sounds like my father. It sounds like everyone I lost." He meets her eyes. "You're hearing what you need to hear. That's not them." She shakes her head, staring into the black. "They buried him last week." "Councilman Reed." "Reed?" The cowboy's voice sharpens. "The one accusing you?" "Yes." She swallows. "I didn't see him." "Did you know him?" "Enough," she says. Her voice trembles slightly. "He cornered me." She stops. Her hands grip the edge of the well tightly. "I didn't mean." "Didn't mean what?" he asks. "I didn't mean for him to die." "I swear I didn't." "You pushed him?" he asks. His tone is careful but firm. "Yes." Her voice is barely a whisper. "He was alive when he fell. I ran." The wind stirs, pushing through the trees. The rope sways again. Something scratches beneath the stones. Neither speaks immediately. The air thickens. The moon casts jagged shadows across the yard, making shapes that might be animals, might be memories, might nothing at all. She shivers. "We fill it tomorrow?" he asks. "They won't let you," she says, voice hoarse, eyes wide. "They're not here," he says simply. "They're always here," she mutters. Her gaze drifts to the distant town lights, pinpricks in the darkness. Their judgment, their whispers, their accusations, they linger like ghosts. He steps closer. "Then we face it anyway." She nods slowly, still gripping the well edge. The lantern swings slightly, throwing her shadow across the stones. Her mind races with every rumor, every lie, every finger that pointed at her. Every stare. Every whispered accusation. Every night she had spent awake, imagining this very moment, wondering if someone would find her. And here, on the edge of the cowboy's land, it feels real. Terribly, painfully real. They stand side by side for a long moment, lantern between them, watching the well as if it holds the answer. The world is still, except for the occasional groan of the house behind them, the sway of the windmill, the distant call of a night bird. And the well. The well seems to breathe, patient and waiting, alive with everything buried and forgotten. "Tomorrow," he says again. "We fill it tomorrow." "Yes," she whispers. She doesn't take her eyes off the black water. "Tomorrow." They turn back toward the house slowly. Her legs shake, but she walks. She thinks of the town, of the sheriff, of the paper they pinned to her coat. Of the life she no longer has. But for the first time in hours, she feels a fragile, trembling sense of control. Not victory, not safety. Just the knowledge that she is not entirely powerless. That maybe, tonight, she can survive. The door closes behind them. She leans against the frame, listening. The house settles. Somewhere below, the well waits. Dark, patient, unjudging. And for the first time, she is quiet. Not triumphant. Not relieved. Just quiet. Waiting. Hooves pound against the earth before anyone sees them. The sheriff and his men arrive in a cloud of dust and tension. She freezes, gripping the edge of the doorway, eyes wide. The cowboy stands in front of her, rifle loose in his hands but ready, a silent wall between her and the returning storm. The sheriff's hat casts a shadow over his eyes, but she knows the hardness underneath. His badge glints in the lantern light. Authority, tarnished but still heavy. "You harboring her?" the sheriff demands as he steps off his horse. "Yes," the cowboy says calmly. "Against order," the sheriff says, voice rising. "She is not welcome here." "Your order," the cowboy replies evenly, no anger, just a statement that carries more weight than a gun. The sheriff glances at her. "You think hiding her makes you innocent?" "I'm not hiding," she says. "I'm living." The men fan out, scanning the land, peering at the barn and the well. One of them calls out, "Rope's wet." The sheriff's eyes narrow. "You dumped something?" "Yeah." "Water," the cowboy says, flat. No hesitation, no fear. Just truth. The sheriff steps closer to her, voice low and sharp. "Tell him. Tell him what you did." "I'm not telling anyone," she snaps. "Tell him what you saw," he insists. Her hands tighten into fists. "What I saw. What you buried." The sheriff leans in closer. "Councilman Reed wasn't sick. He was strong. He fell because of you." The cowboy shifts slightly. "You're saying she did it?" "She fought back," she says, voice barely a whisper. "He cornered me." The sheriff's jaw tightens. "Do you expect me to believe that?" "Yes," she says, staring at him. "Believe what you want." "He fell." A deputy whispers from behind a horse. Grave looked light. The sheriff spins on him. "Enough." The cowboy steps forward, lantern swinging, shadows cutting across the ground. "You buried him empty?" His voice is calm but sharp. The sheriff's hand twitches near his gun. "You live on the edge of recklessness." "I live on the edge of truth," the cowboy says. Silence hangs heavy. The sheriff looks at the well again. He notices the damp stones, the rope swinging slightly even though the air is still. His confidence wavers. No one else speaks. Even the men seem to feel the weight of accusation that's not theirs but has found them anyway. You think I'm guilty, the sheriff mutters finally. You all think she's guilty. I don't think, the cowboy says. I see. What do you see? She whispers. He doesn't answer her, not immediately. His eyes sweep the yard, the well, the house, the distant town lights. He sees fear. Fear mixed with power. Authority cracking under weight it was never built to bear. He sees her, standing tall even though her legs shake, eyes wide even though her voice trembles. He sees the choice she made. To survive. To stand. To face it all and not run. The sheriff steps back, badge catching lantern light again. He looks at the men around him. They shift uneasily. Authority feels brittle. He glares at the cowboy. You think you can protect her? I think you should go home, the cowboy says. The sheriff doesn't move. His pride, his town, his reputation, all of it presses him forward. But the air has changed. The men shift behind him. His words carry less weight than they did before. He is alone now, not physically, but in power. The truth, dangerous and patient, has begun to unseat him. She notices a subtle change in the well, stone shifting slightly, damp soil at its edge where there should be none. Her mind jumps. The town's accusations, the sheriff's words, the councilman's fall, it all collides in a mess she didn't ask for but must navigate. And the cowboy, silent sentinel, watches her, steady, unafraid, and somehow everything seems possible. You think hiding her makes you righteous, she says, voice trembling but firm. Righteous, he repeats. Righteous is what they call fear wrapped in law. The deputy whispers again, glancing at the well. It's moving, the dirt. The sheriff steps closer, voice rising, eyes scanning the ground. What are you saying? Empty, the cowboy says. Flat. Truth stretched over accusation. Buried empty. A sharp wind stirs. The rope swings again. Something deep in the well shifts. The sheriff steps back instinctively. The men flinch, uneasy, uncertain. The town's authority, the law, the judgment, they all feel fragile now, easily broken by knowledge, by courage, by truth. You're walking a thin line, the sheriff hisses, voice tense. A thin line I will not forgive. The cowboy tilts his head, steady. I live on the edge of it. She watches them, watching each other. Every stare is a test, a challenge, a reckoning. She feels her chest tighten. Fear is still here, but so is determination. The sheriff's power is broken. His certainty shattered by something no badge can cover. The well waits, patient, dark. And she knows that whatever comes next, she will not be alone. The sheriff finally steps back, hands raised in silent warning. This isn't over, he says. No, the cowboy replies. Not yet. She breathes, slow, deep. Her fingers unclench. She steps away from the edge of the well, away from accusation, toward the house that might still hold safety, toward the man who will not abandon her, toward a fragile moment of control she's never felt before. The lantern swings between them, casting long shadows. Dust stirs at their boots. Somewhere far off, the town waits, but tonight, the yard belongs to her. To them. To truth. To fear faced and survived. The house is quiet except for the creak of old wood underfoot. She sits on the edge of the bed, hands folded tightly in her lap. The lantern casts long shadows across the walls, stretching them into shapes that almost move. The cowboy leans against the doorframe, rifle set aside, eyes steady but watchful. Silence hangs thick, heavier than any words. Finally, she speaks. He cornered me, she says. The words are low, almost choked. By the church. He wanted control. Wanted everything I had. Control, he asks, voice calm, measured. You mean the town, the land, you? Yes, she whispers. Her fingers grip the edge of the bed. He grabbed me. I fought. I pushed him. He fell, he asks, quiet, careful, as if speaking louder might shatter reality. Yes, she says. Her voice breaks slightly. Into the well. Dead? I think so. Her eyes dart to the floorboards. She can't meet his gaze. I left. The cowboy studies her, expression unreadable. You left him? I ran, she admits, almost inaudible. I didn't mean to kill him. Would it have mattered? He asks softly. If you had stayed? She doesn't answer. She stares at the floor, at the worn boards, at the tiny scars of past fires and spilled oil. She can feel the history pressing up from below, the house remembers. She shifts uneasily. I heard him, sometimes. The rope on the well creaks. A faint sound, soft but deliberate, like breathing from underground. Her head snaps toward the door. The cowboy notices immediately. Not outside, he says. His voice is calm, grounding. She swallows hard. It's under the floorboards. I think he's still alive. He steps forward, placing a hand on a plank. The wood groans. Damp soil shifts beneath. You hear that? He asks. Yes, she whispers. Her heartbeat thunders in her ears. It scratches. He kneels slowly, lifting a loose plank. Dark, wet earth beneath. Soil pushed up where it should be firm. Her stomach churns. The smell is faint, iron and rot. She can't breathe. Do you think it's him? She asks. I don't know, he admits. But it doesn't matter if it is. Her hands shake as she grips his arm. It feels wrong. Like something shouldn't be down there. Like the earth itself is warning me. Then we don't stay, he says. We face it another way. Her eyes search his face. You'd protect me from this? Yes, he says. Simple. No hesitation. No pride. Just truth. The air grows colder. She shivers despite herself. The walls of the house seem to close in, whispering memories. Echoes of the town, of judgment, of eyes that never forgive. She takes a shaky breath. Do you think they'll come for me tonight? They won't, he says. Not yet. And not while I'm here. She hesitates, then asks, voice trembling, what if they knew? They don't, he replies. And they never will. Not if we're careful. Another creak from below. Soil shifts again. Something faint brushes against the plank edge. Her stomach twists. She wants to run, scream, do anything but stay. But she doesn't. She can't. She knows running won't save her. It never did. You think I should stay hidden? She asks. No, he says. You think I should leave? No, she says quickly. Not while, her voice falters. Not while it's still here. He straightens, lantern swinging, shadows flicking across the walls. Then we do this together. She swallows. The words feel heavy, yet somehow relieving. She nods. Together. They work side by side, lifting the planks carefully, peering into the wet darkness. The rope of the well sways slightly above the house, unseen but present in her mind. She feels the town's judgment, the sheriff's authority, the councilman's shadow. Everything pressing down. But for the first time, she feels a choice. Not freedom. Not safety. Just control over her own action. The soil under the floorboards seems to pulse with memory. The scratches grow more deliberate, urgent. She hears faint whispers, echoes of Reed's voice, distorted by fear, by water, by earth. You left me, one voice says. Another, closer, you'll pay. She flinches, gripping the plank tighter. He kneels beside her. It's just echoes. Nothing alive will hurt you now. They feel alive, she says. And wrong. I don't know if it's him. Or something else. Something angry. Then we fix it, he says. Careful. Step by step. Not reckless. The night stretches. Every creak, every whisper, every shadow feels like accusation. She bites her lip to keep from crying, keeps hands steady on the wood. He steadies the lantern, watches her, watches the room, watches the darkness. Together, they face the house, the well, the memories buried in earth and in town. I think it's not just Reed, she says finally, voice low. It's everything he represents. Fear. Judgment. Authority that can't forgive. He nods. Then we deal with the representation. Not the man. Not the past. Only what's here, now. They replace the plank slowly, carefully. Soil settles back into place, shadows returning to corners. Silence floods the room. No voices. No movement. Only the air, thick and tense. Her hands unclench. She exhales, finally, deeply, like she hasn't in hours. You survived, he says quietly. Not praise. Statement. Recognition. Yes, she says. So far. Then we keep surviving, he says. Together. Outside, the wind shifts. The barn sighs. The well waits, patient, silent, holding the darkness beneath. She knows the town waits too, watching from distance, but inside this house, on this floor, she has a foothold. Fear still lingers. The unknown waits below. But she has a choice. And for now, that is enough. Torches flare in the distance first, tiny sparks against the dark horizon. Then hooves pound hard on dry earth. The town has come. The sheriff rides at the front, face taut, hands gripping reins. The men behind him carry lanterns, rifles, and anger as if it were their birthright. She freezes at the sight, gripping the cowboy's arm tightly. He stands firm, calm, rifle loose in his hands but ready, unflinching. They're coming, she whispers, voice trembling. I know, he says. His eyes sweep the yard. You can still leave. No, she says quickly. I'm not running anymore. He studies her. Why? Because I know what they do to women alone. I know what happens when you hide. The wind picks up, carrying the faint smell of smoke from the town. The first torches touch the dry grass, tiny flames licking the earth. Panic rises in her chest. She wants to run, scream, anything. But she doesn't. She can't. Not now. The sheriff shouts from the lead horse, voice sharp. Hand her over. The cowboy steps onto the porch, lantern swinging. Dust swirls around his boots. Come take her, he says calmly, almost gently, but with a power that makes the town hesitate. Men stop, unsure. Their authority falters when confronted with his stillness, his certainty. She steps beside him, heart pounding, the night heavy with tension. You banish her for surviving, he calls out to the crowd. For standing? The sheriff glares, eyes narrow. She belongs to us. The town decides. She belongs to herself, the cowboy shouts back. And if you want to take her, take me first. For a moment, silence hangs. Only the distant call of an owl, the crackle of fire on dry grass, and the low whistle of wind. The well groans faintly, the rope swinging as if alive. The air feels charged, heavy with history and memory. The voices of the town echo with judgment and accusation, but the shadows twist differently now, bending toward her, toward them, not against. Flames leap from the torches, catching dry grass, climbing fences. Panic spreads among the town's men. One of them yells, "The fire!" Another curses, "Back! Back!" But they hesitate, unsure whether to fight her, fight him, or flee. The cowboy grabs her hand. Now, he says. They run together, moving water buckets from the well toward the approaching fire. She lifts one and hurls it, soaking the blaze. Sparks hiss. Flames roar. Her muscles burn, her heart races, but she keeps moving. The sheriff calls orders, but no one listens. They are frozen, stunned by the sight of her standing, not pleading, not begging, not hiding. The cowboy kicks a torch away from the barn. Sparks fly. A wall of flame rushes toward the dry fence line. Fear flashes across the sheriff's face. "You think you can control fire?" the cowboy shouts. "You think you can control judgment?" No one answers. The fire roars louder, a living thing, and it doesn't discriminate. It devours dry grass, scorches fence posts, consumes the distance between town and land. The sheriff steps back instinctively. The men around him falter. Authority is brittle now, fragile as ash. She breathes hard, water dripping from her hands, face streaked with sweat and dirt. "It's too much," she whispers. "No," he says firmly. "It's not too much. It's what they deserve." Her eyes flash at him. "You think I deserve this?" "No," he says. "You deserve to survive. You deserve to stand." They work side by side, dousing the flames, throwing water onto the fire that licks the edge of the barn. Sparks hiss and scatter, carried by the wind. Somewhere beneath the earth, the well waits, patient and dark. Shadows twist across the yard as though watching. She hears faint whispers, carried by the wind, accusations, memories, old rumors. The fire roars over them all, and for the first time, her voice is clear. "You buried him wrong," she says, not to him, not to anyone, but to the world. A crack beneath the barn makes the men flinch. Sparks rain down. Some of the torches drop. Panic spreads, like the fire itself. The sheriff shouts orders, but no one listens. His authority dissolves into smoke, carried away by the wind. "You banish her for surviving," the cowboy repeats. He steps closer to the crowd. "You follow men who bury secrets?" Still no answer. The sheriff glances at the cowboy, face white with fear and frustration. He raises a hand, then lowers it. The fire consumes his certainty. The crowd feels it too, powerless under the chaos, under the truth burning before them. The well groans, the rope swings. Flames lick at stones, casting long shadows. She looks down at it, fear twisting her stomach, but something deeper rises: recognition, control, power. She is no longer the town's pawn. She is alive, she is present, and she is choosing. "Enough," the sheriff finally shouts. But it's hollow. The sound falls into the roar of the fire. Sparks fly, hitting dry boards, igniting new tons of flame. He steps back, hands shaking. He is alone in authority now, stripped of control, stripped of power. The cowboy grabs her hand again. "We leave when the fire dies," he says. "Together." She nods, heart hammering, adrenaline and fear and exhilaration all colliding. "Together," she echoes. They keep tossing water, keeping the fire from consuming everything that matters, from consuming them. The town falters, some men fleeing, some frozen, some powerless in the face of the destruction they cannot stop. She feels something swell inside her, raw and vital: survival, resilience, defiance. Every ember in the fire feels like a small triumph. Every spark a whisper of vengeance. The barn groans, black smoke curling into the sky. Sparks rain down. Somewhere inside her, something untangles: fear and rage, grief and determination. She feels the town's judgment, the sheriff's authority, the councilman's shadow, all beginning to crumble. "You stay behind me," the cowboy says. "If they come closer, we face it together." "I'm not hiding," she says. Her voice is steady now. "Not anymore." They watch the fire roar, the shadows bend, the town falter. And for the first time, she realizes she is not alone. The cowboy's hand tightens around hers. The night stretches, thick with smoke and fire, judgment and memory, accusation and truth. She does not flinch. She does not run. The sheriff finally turns his horse, retreating into the darkness. The town follows reluctantly, shaken and uncertain, powerless against what they cannot control: the fire, the truth, the woman who refuses to be erased. She breathes in, smoke and ash filling her lungs, her face streaked with sweat and dirt. Her hands shake, but not with fear. With life. With defiance. with understanding that she has survived everything they could throw at her, and she is stronger for it. The well waits silently in the center of the yard, dark and patient. The fire will die. The smoke will clear. But what has been unleashed cannot be unseen. They can leave her name in whispers, write rumors in haste, but she stands, undeniable, unbroken. And beside her, the cowboy stands. Steady, unyielding, present. Not a savior, not a hero, just a witness. Just proof that she is not alone. Together, they watch the fire burn, watch the night shift, watch the town realize that nothing will ever be the same. For the first time, she feels the power in survival. In defiance. In choice. And she knows that tomorrow, the world may try again, but tonight, she is the one holding the flame. Smoke drifts low across the yard in the early morning. The fire has mostly died, leaving blackened earth, charred wood, and curling ash that rises like spirits from the night's chaos. The sheriff stands alone on the edge of the burnt fence line, his hat tipped low, shoulders stiff, badge tarnished, authority eroded. He watches, silent and powerless, as the aftermath settles around him. She leans against the porch railing, hands gripping the splintered wood, face streaked with soot and tears. Her hair is tangled, her clothes damp with water and sweat. The wind moves through the ruins, carrying whispers from the night, accusation, fear, judgment, and they are powerless against her presence. "You staying?" the cowboy asks softly. His voice is low, calm, almost intimate in the quiet morning. "They'll never forgive," she says, voice tight. "Not after this." "They don't have to," he replies. Simple words, heavy with meaning. He doesn't offer protection. He offers choice. She looks at the ruined well, its stones blackened by fire, rope swinging faintly in the breeze. The darkness within seems less threatening now, patient and still. "It's quiet," she says. "For now." "You hear him?" he asks, glancing at the well. "No," she replies. Not a whisper, not a sound. Silence. Relief and dread mingle, tight in her chest. He studies her, unflinching. "You afraid?" "Yes," she admits. And she means it. Afraid of the town, of the past, of memory that scratches beneath floorboards, afraid of ghosts that never leave. She is honest with him. "Still staying?" he asks. She nods, slow, deliberate. But not hiding. He offers his hand. Not ownership. Not rescue. Just presence. "Then don't." She takes it. Warm, steady, real. Not a lifeline. A bridge. They step down from the porch together. Her feet touch the burnt earth, and she feels it anchor her. The town watches from the distance, blurred shadows on the horizon, silent and uncertain. She does not look back. She does not need to. The sheriff removes his badge slowly. Fingers brushing tarnished metal. He drops it into the ash at his feet. A gesture that feels like surrender, acknowledgement, a quiet acknowledgement of the power she reclaimed. His men linger, unsure, but the moment is broken. Authority is fractured beyond repair. "I thought I'd lose everything," she says quietly, to no one in particular. "Even me." "You didn't," the cowboy replies. His eyes meet hers, steady. "Not while you stood." The house behind them creaks in the wind. Smoke curls through open windows. The barn still smolders, blackened beams jutting into the sky. She inhales sharply. She tastes ash and sweat and fire and relief. And beneath it all, possibility. "You gave me shelter," she says. He shakes his head. "You walked into it." A laugh escapes her, soft, a little broken. It tastes like victory and exhaustion all at once. "I didn't know I could." "You did," he says simply. Truth, plain and steady. They walk through the yard together. Her eyes scan the fire-blackened fence, the scorched grass, the remnants of torches and sparks still glowing faintly in ash piles. The town remains at a distance, shadows along the horizon, powerless against the choices made here. "Do you ever think they'll come back?" she asks. "Maybe," he says. But we'll be ready. We won't run. We won't hide. She nods. Her chest rises and falls with slow determination. The wind tugs at her hair. Dust drifts through the air. She can feel the weight of memory pressing down, the councilman, the sheriff, the town, but it no longer binds her. She has survived judgment, accusation, fire, fear. She is not free of it, but she is stronger. The well sits in the center of the yard, silent now, patient. She looks down into its blackness, past the rope, past the stones, into the darkness beneath. The rope swings slightly in the breeze, shadows flicker, but she does not flinch. The fear is still there, quiet, but she holds it like a reminder, a tether to what she endured, what she overcame. The cowboy stops beside her, hand brushing hers lightly. You ready? She looks at him. Ready for what? Whatever comes next, he says. Whatever they think they can do. Whatever the world throws at us. She exhales, long and steady. I think I am. He nods. No words needed beyond that. They turn together toward the house, toward the remnants of what was nearly lost, toward the shelter they built together, not walls, not fences, not guns, but trust and courage, something stronger than fire and fear. They step inside. Dust rises around their feet. She looks at the floorboards. They hold memory and fear, but also endurance. She places her hand lightly on the blackened wood. She feels its history, its weight. The past is still there, but she will not be crushed by it. Outside, the sun rises slowly. Light filters through smoke, illuminating the yard, the well, the house, and the land beyond. Every shadow shrinks, every ember cools, every accusation from the town fades into distance. The world is still imperfect. The town remains, waiting. But for the first time, she feels agency. Choice. Strength. The cowboy hands her a small bundle of supplies, water, a knife, a coat. For the journey, he says. She accepts it. For the night, she corrects. No, he says. For every night after this. For the days they think they control. She nods, grateful. She doesn't need more words. The gesture carries everything: solidarity, partnership, acknowledgement of survival. They are equals here, in this burned yard, in this fragile morning. The air carries faint smoke and the smell of wet earth. Somewhere, the well sighs in the quiet. A house creaks, settling, alive with memory. She steps forward, each footfall deliberate, each breath steady. She is no longer afraid to occupy space, no longer afraid to confront history, the town, or herself. Will it always be like this? She asks quietly, almost to herself. No, he replies. It will be whatever we make it. She exhales, feeling the weight of her past lift fractionally, replaced with something raw and unpolished: hope, defiance, courage. She looks toward the horizon. The town watches, powerless. The sheriff lingers, defeated, authority dissolved into ash. She does not look back. Together, he asks. Together, she says. They walk toward the rebuilt porch, toward the house that survived the fire, toward the land they now claim not by law or town judgment, but by defiance and will. Every step is quiet, steady. Every shadow falls behind them. The air hums with the weight of what was destroyed and what remains. The well is silent, patient, holding its secrets beneath. The wind carries faint whispers from the town, but they are powerless now, nothing but echoes. She closes her eyes for a moment, feeling the land beneath her boots, the wind on her face, the warmth of the cowboy's hand at her side. For the first time in weeks, maybe years, she allows herself a sense of peace. Not safety, not forgiveness, not absolution. Just presence. Strength. Survival. Choice. The sun rises higher. Light spills across the yard, bright and clear. Smoke curls lazily from the ruined barn. Ash drifts through the air. The town is still, the sheriff distant, the night's chaos fading into memory. She looks at the cowboy. We did it, she whispers. No, he says. You did it. I just stood beside you. And for the first time, she believes it. The well remains dark but quiet. The house stands scarred but whole. The yard smells of smoke and ash, of survival and defiance. She steps forward, into the light, into choice, into the life she reclaimed. The sheriff's badge lies in ash. The town is behind. The past is underfoot, heavy but conquerable. And she is alive. Together, they face the day, silent witnesses to what fire, courage, and refusal to submit can accomplish. She does not look back. She walks forward, hand in his, every step deliberate, every breath hers. And the land stretches ahead, ready to hold them, ready to witness them, ready to be theirs. The morning air is crisp, carrying smoke and the faint scent of wet earth from the fire. She stands near the well, fingers brushing the rope, silent. The blackened stones are patient, watching, holding secrets beneath their surface. She doesn't speak at first. She just listens, the wind through the trees, the distant calls of birds, the faint hum of life returning to the land. You thinking about going back? The cowboy asks, voice low, steady. He leans against the porch rail, rifle absent, eyes on her. No, she says. Her voice is quiet but firm. Not yet. Not while I still hear them. They won't bother you, he says. Not after everything. You don't know them, she says, glancing toward the distant town. Shadows stretch along the horizon, silent, but still watching. They've never forgiven. Never forgotten. Some of them never will. They can watch all they want, he says. It won't touch you here. She laughs softly, bitter, a little broken. They buried men in lies. And ghosts. And they think the world bends to their rules. They don't, he says simply. A pause. She studies him. You stayed. You stayed when no one else would. I promised, he says. And I meant it. Not heroics. Not bravado. Just presence. Her eyes drift to the well. Faint whispers seem to curl up from the stones, as though the past beneath the earth stirs with memory. She bends slightly, fingers brushing the rope again. Do you think it remembers? Not like us, he says. It just holds. I keep thinking about him, she whispers. About Reed. About everyone who tried to control me. Who tried to erase me. You survived them, he says, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. That's all that matters. She nods, breathing deep. The wind lifts her hair, catches the smoke, scatters ash across the yard. She closes her eyes. For a moment, she allows herself to feel the night's terror, the fire, the accusation. And she allows herself to let it go, just slightly, just enough to stand a little straighter. You'll stay, she asks, almost a question to herself. I'm not leaving, he says. You're not alone anymore. The sun rises higher, painting the blackened fence and scorched earth in pale gold. Shadows shrink, smoke curls lazily, and somewhere beyond the trees, the town stirs again, distant and powerless. She turns, looking over the yard, over the well, over the land they've reclaimed together. It's quiet. For now. Do you think the town will ever forgive me? She asks. Forgive? He repeats. You don't need that. You need yourself. She exhales, shaky. I don't know if I have myself yet. You do, he says. It's taken a while, but you've earned it. Step by step. They walk slowly toward the house, boots crunching on the dry ash and dirt. Her gaze lingers on the barn, charred beams jutting toward the sky. Memory and loss cling to the shadows, but the ruins are quiet, patient. They are reminders, not chains. I think about what's under the floorboards, she says, voice low. Sometimes I hear scratches. Or whispers. And it terrifies me. But I can face it now. You're ready, he says. Not fearless, not unafraid. But ready. And that's enough. She pauses at the doorway, hand on the wood. Dust rises in little clouds. She inhales deeply. I think I understand what you meant. Shelter isn't walls. It's standing together. It's presence. Yes, he says, voice soft. Exactly. A faint wind stirs the well rope, shadows bend across the yard, and she allows herself to smile, small and fragile. The past lingers, but it does not control her. She has survived accusation, fire, judgment, and memory. And she has survived herself. Will you stay here? She asks quietly. I will, he says. As long as you want. Silence stretches. Not awkward. Not heavy. Just steady, a quiet acknowledgement of all they've endured, all they've survived. She steps forward, hand brushing his. The gesture is small, intimate, solid. Together, they move into the house, letting the wind carry away the last hints of smoke, letting the ruins behind them fade into memory. The well waits silently, patient and dark, holding everything buried beneath it. And she does not flinch. She will not be frightened by what lies beneath. The earth remembers, the town whispers, but she does not yield. She stands with him, present, unbroken, ready to face whatever comes next. The sun rises fully now. Light spills across the yard, across the scars, across the ashes of fire and fear. Birds call from the trees. The wind bends the grass. Somewhere distant, the town stirs again, but she is quiet, steady, alive. You're different now, he says. You've changed. Yes, she says softly. And so have you. They walk to the porch together, boots crunching over ash. She leans lightly on the railing. He stands beside her. The land stretches before them, quiet and waiting. Their shadows stretch behind them, long and joined, moving as one. You think we can rebuild? She asks. Piece by piece, he says. Step by step. Just like survival. She nods. Her fingers touch the rope one last time, feeling the weight of memory beneath it, the patience of earth, the quiet that has followed fire. The past remains. The town waits. But for the first time, she feels truly sheltered. Not from danger, not from memory, not from fear, but by presence, by trust, by the quiet knowledge that she has chosen her own path. The sun rises higher. Smoke fades. Ash drifts gently across the yard. She exhales, deep, steady. Her hand finds the cowboy's. Together, they face the morning. And the world feels still, patient, waiting. For her, for them, for everything yet to come.